Welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Rikki.
And I'm Candice.
Candice, how's your week been?
Oh man, we are getting so close to like well, it's already like the holiday season, but
Yeah,
feeling good, feeling happy. I have on my Disney top. I figure that make you happy. I have on
I love
every
it.
time I wear this, I think of our trip.
It's
So
such a great trip.
yeah, yeah. But no, everything's been good, getting ready. Actually, I'm gonna be going on my Disney cruise
I
pretty
love it.
soon. And I love. Well, it's my first one, I'll be honest. I love cruising, but I've
Mhm.
never done this, and it's like a Disney Very Merry Time cruise.
You're
So
going to have
like,
the best time.
well, I'm more so, it's really when you have a kid, it's all about seeing, because Isaiah loves like seeing people in costumes. He doesn't matter who it is. Our joke is you could put something on your head and he'd be like, oh my gosh, like whatever you are, I want to take a picture. So I feel like it's just going to be a few days of seeing him like freak out over
Right.
Mickey
Yes.
and Donald Duck. So yes, bring on the fun.
Yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to, definitely.
Yeah. How about you? How are you doing?
Pretty good. I feel like, in the school world, there's always a countdown, and whether it's to Thanksgiving or spring break, we're always counting something down.
Almost there. Whereas I'm doing the opposite countdown.
Right.
Like, keep that in. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, things are good. But yeah, I'm so glad we're here to talk about this because this has just been coming up a lot lately. And I wanted to bring it to our conversation
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of times, especially around the holidays, we're so quick to label foods. And I know we've had this conversation in different ways before, but I was thinking, I was talking to a coworker and she was, had just celebrated her birthday and was like really excited to have she has had so much joy in her face because when she was talking about, the food she was going to eat for her birthday. And I just felt bad because I was like, oh, but what about like all the other times? Like, are you going to be excited, to go home and cook dinner or to like it shouldn't that joy also be around like the food, but also not like, oh, I can only have it now. And the restrictiveness, I could feel it. And I could feel that her excitement came from the restrictiveness of the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was thinking, like, how can we have the mindset of foods aren't necessarily good or bad, but also hold tight that, like, it is very wise to have restrictions around food.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I know I have been pre-diabetic in the past. So it's not wise for me to have cake every day or to have a candy bar for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, so I may not be labeling that food as bad, but for me and for my health journey and my weight loss journey, it's not wise to eat that food in a certain way. So it's like, I just wanted to bring that to the table today for us to talk
Yeah.
about, like, how have you personally labeled food in the past and now, and how does it relate to like how you look at it, in what way,
I think that it's actually been quite hard because I grew up in a family where it was always very weight focused because, I had, you know, my dad was one who struggled with his weight. My mom less so. Like she always kind of was the thin one. Like, no, it felt like no matter what she ate. I mean, she may have had a time where she got to like she gained 5-10 pounds, but that was like it. And I
Mhm.
say all that to say that because of his focus on trying to use food restrict foods and different types, it kind of played with my psyche that there were good foods and there were bad foods and there were things that you were supposed to eat and not eat.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I definitely can understand like how that can kind of mess with you when for him when he started to see results, in the restricting, it kind of fed. I don't want to call it a food maybe it's too extreme to say that it's a not what is it? Not a I'm not trying to say binge or like addiction, but something that's so negative. Like I'm not trying to say that he had like something that needed to go to
An eating
rehab,
disorder.
like a disorder. It wasn't
Right.
that disorder, but it was very, very restrictive.
Mhm.
And the more that he got results, the better that he was. The
Mhm.
the more he did it. But when he had bad days or days that he labeled bad, like, I'm going to eat this bad food, like he really, really did it. And when Weight Watchers used to teach, like, well, there's really no good foods or bad foods, I've always had like a challenge with that. I've always had a challenge with, like, is that really true? Or are you all just really saying that? Because like cake, according to like the world, is bad for you because it's full of like, they're like, no, it's just calories and fat. No, but you tell someone that you went to go eat a piece of cake and they're never really generally happy for you.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I used to eat it in secret, you know, or like my father in this example, he would go overboard with like when it was his day to be bad or it wasn't a part of his plan, he would overindulge on it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think too about, you know, I think you mentioned this recently off the air, but like, I remember I used to be so into those 100-calorie packs, you know,
yes.
because we've both been on this program a long time, long enough to be a part of it when 100-calorie packs were like 2 points and a banana was like 4. Because during that like time of WW, it was all about like the sugar, I think, and because bananas had more sugar and carbs in them, they were higher than the 100-calorie packs. And I would eat like, okay, well, instead of a banana, I could have 200-calorie packs.
Right.
You know, these little cookies that had no nutritional value.
What's the point of this? Yeah.
But I think I did label the food that was lower points as good, and the food that it wasn't like bad, but it was like, this is better because it's less points.
Yeah. And it never was really, like I said, everything about weight loss for a long time for me really wasn't about health. Let's just be honest and start there.
Yeah.
It was about if the scale went down, you know, I don't care if it was from eating the 100-calorie packs or restricting and not eating all day and then eating one meal. Like that became my narrative in my mind that was an okay way to do it. Because my only goal at some point was like weight loss.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you identify with that, but I think that that's something that's in our culture and something that even in the Weight Watchers world that we dabble in. Like everyone's so focused on the result and less about the true impact on our body. So when you go ahead.
We grew up in the 90s, like it's like by any means necessary. It's like, you know, Slim Fast and, you know,
oh my gosh, Slim Fast. Wow.
Brands out there. Cause I think, you know, some of these brands still exist in their own way, but like, you know, everything was even in the name, you know, it's about getting slim very, very quickly. And again, not to bash one company or anything. It's, you know, I think every company at this time, I mean, I used to live off of those like frozen dinners that came in like a green box.
Oh my gosh. What was that? I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yes. So, and then there's other versions. Weight Watchers was affiliated with one of the brands for a while, and you could see the points. Remember, you could see the points on the
smart ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, there were so many things, and the way it's labeled, it's like smart. You know, this is a good choice. This is a healthy choice. You know, like, and the sodium. I've realized later, like, a lot of us don't do well with sodium, and those things were littered with that, and they still are. You know, sometimes they are the best option that someone might have. So I'm not knocking them, not saying like, hey, don't eat that, but like, there's things that now that we have. I love the nutritional content being in the app.
Yeah, it is
so
nice.
You can see the macronutrients. Like, I didn't know. I remember hearing macronutrients years ago. I didn't know what that meant. Like, I love that there's more education now, and when we have that education, it's like we can make more informed decisions.
Because I think also maybe it's just a byproduct for me of getting older and having some of the health issues that I had. It's like, because it's having to become more about health and less about just weight loss, like it does kind of play into the choices that I make, you know, when you're choosing the 100-calorie pack versus the banana. Like this isn't just about 2 points versus 4 on the old plan, or 0 points versus 2 points. It's about, what is this doing for my body? And that's why, you know, but that took some time to like change my mindset. Like that wasn't like an immediate thing, you know, because the truth is that for the longest time, it's never, for most of my journey, I don't know if it's ever truly been about health. I said it because that's what sounded like the right thing to say.
No, that's a good point.
You
That's
know
so
what I
true.
mean? That
That's
sounds
honest.
right.
Yeah, I walked through those doors the very first time because my mom wanted me to be and skinny. Like my
Right.
mom wanted me to be smaller. And again, for the real reason, it wasn't about looks. She didn't want me to look a certain. She wanted me to be healthy.
Right.
But we associate being skinny with being healthy. Did my doctor say, "Oh, you're really unhealthy"? You got. I mean, I didn't have health issues at that time. It was more my mom felt that like being overweight was unhealthy. So for me, I learned that like I learned that,
Yeah.
and so I just felt like I'm unhealthy. I don't fit into these jeans. I was a kid that loved magazines and I was very visual. So I would get the Delia's magazine that would come in the mail, and I would see all the different models wearing the different cute jeans. And for me, it was about the clothes, and that's how it started. It was about the clothes and wearing a certain size and getting down to that number. And then I'll be healthy, and then dating will be easier, and then I'll, be more confident.
Right.
Like all of those things were wrapped up in what I imagined it would be like to be smaller and to be skinny.
Yeah. And I think that even goes back to what you kind of talked about earlier when you were talking about your friend and like the choices that we make. Because, you know, if we do things that we know are not maybe the healthiest for our bodies, but it gets us the results, that we want despite our health. Or even if you're talking, I think you and I were talking and you brought it up about, like you said, foods that we
Mhm.
know are not like maybe the quote unquote best for us, but we may rationalize it that the program says that nothing's off limits or that nothing's ever bad. But it's like, if I'm thinking about this truly, honestly, for what my body needs, it doesn't need now that we have macros to look at, I don't need that much
Mhm.
sodium. I don't
Mhm.
need that much sugar right now.
Right.
You know, I know I can have it and it's not a bad food, but it's not a smart choice for me now.
Mhm.
And that hurts sometimes because I think that if I'm honest, there's been a part of me that wanted to buy into the whole I can eat whatever I want because it served my addiction. It has
Mm.
served my food addiction to say that, like to say, well, I'm like, oh, well, I can eat whatever I want, but it doesn't make me feel good. I don't
Mhm.
feel good after this. My blood pressure goes up, the scale
Right.
goes up. I am pre-diabetic. My body is actually telling me that this doesn't work for me.
Right. I love that you said that because I do feel like for a lot of time I felt like, oh, well, I'm not labeling food as good or bad anymore. So it gave me that freedom, like you're saying, of being like, I can have what I want when I want. The
Yeah.
Weight Watchers isn't binding. It's not restrictive. It's not. But then there's that other polar end of the spectrum where it's like, I'm not restricting food and I'm not saying food is bad, but now it's like I'm eating whatever, and then am I tracking everything, or I'm tracking everything, and there's no like immediate consequence. Like,
Yeah.
does it even still turn red anymore? It doesn't turn red anymore when you go over. So it's like there's no visual consequence. Yeah, there's a consequence to my health and the scale and the
Yeah.
way my clothes fit, but like I can kind of in the moment not feel any consequences and feel like that's freedom, but it's not. It's a whole nother end of like I'm out of control in this way, even though I'm still technically on plan, if that makes sense.
But I think also we're aware of that too, because I feel like it
Mhm.
plays into how we, I don't know, show up on the scale, where it's like, or even in our tracker, where it's like, I may outwardly say that I don't care and I don't label foods, but there's certain
Mhm.
foods I track very easily and certain foods that I do not track very easily, you
Mhm.
know, because I still feel the weight literally of whatever the food is. So if you
Mhm.
put in piece of homemade cake with icing and you see that it's 36 points versus icy green leaf vegetable salad that's 0,
Mhm.
there's one that's easy. It's like, I do think they're trying to force you to say like, yeah, it's not a right choice, but there is, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
There is. And so the things that you feel, I think that they've heard from the community Like
Mhm.
people like me who may have said that we're triggered by like the red and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But and maybe they shouldn't be, but this is still something where emotions and worth and things are tied into like the value drivers of the reasons that we make the decisions. Like I'm a bad
Mhm.
person because I ate cake. Or I'm a bad
Mhm.
stuff like that may not be true, but can also still not be a wise choice. I'm not a
Mhm.
bad person because I ate the cake, but it still was not a wise choice for my body. And I need to make a different choice because of where I am.
Mhm.
See, I was like, that's different. Like that's
Mhm.
where I'm trying to get to now,
Mhm.
because the excuses, because it is an excuse for me that like I can do it, and because it's not true. It's just not true,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that hurts. And I wish it were true, but my body doesn't respond the same way to a piece of chocolate cake as it does to a salad.
Mhm. And it's so true. And I think for me, as someone who has spent years being picky, it's like I don't get a chance because of the quantity or the lack of quantity of greens and things, those foods that provide that nutrition. I might have a salad, but I don't have a salad every single day, so I'm not noticing, the long-term effects of that. So I think it is a growth process of that combination of like knowing how I feel, but knowing also I may not feel it right now, but like if I continue. I think that's the hard part, like knowing that some of it is delayed, like the
Yeah.
delayed gratification with like not just the weight loss that comes, but the feeling that comes from like my digestive system is not as quick as other people's.
Right. Right.
Like everyone has like, we don't talk about that often. Like some people have like if they eat a certain food, it just immediate. That's never really been me, which is not the most typical thing, but I'm sure people can relate to that.
Yeah.
And for me, if I am consistently eating healthier foods and greens, then I notice a difference, but it's not something that I notice immediately, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah. And I think that, but I mean, again, and we are people who I think are reinforced by certain things. And, when we talk about trying to get into like a habit of doing things that serve us well, like I think sometimes we can just get used to the feeling of not feeling the best. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's like, I'm used to being, I'm just making it extreme backed up, or I'm used to
Mhm.
feeling like I'm
Sluggish.
sluggish. So
Yeah.
that's just my status quo. And I don't
Mhm.
really feel like I need to do something to change it per se.
Yeah. Because you don't know what you don't know. Like if you've been steadily like I was an overweight kid. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know what it's like to be in a really healthy body. Like, and I don't want to say it like that. I don't in a really fit body. Like when I was probably at my most fit, I've had asthma my whole
Mhm.
life. So like I remember having to do running around DC with my sports team and struggling. And
Yeah.
it wasn't because I wasn't fit. I probably should have been running with that
Mhm.
asthma.
Mhm.
Like it, and it was also still hard because I wasn't necessarily like I was still carrying some fat and I also was still building muscle. So
Mhm.
that is a challenge. And then some people are more athletically inclined than others. But I say all that to say, like, we are all different. And, we might what works for some person when it comes to like changing those routines may not be effective for someone else.
But I also don't think that we talk about the negative effects of some of the routines that people have adopted to maintain what society says is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because is it healthy to only eat a salad with no dressing after eating nothing all morning and then drinking water and exercising for 3 hours a day? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that healthy?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Right.
but maybe the body type society congratulates you for. But
Mm-hmm.
really internally, you still don't feel good either because your body
Mm-hmm.
is like not getting the nutrients that it needs. So it's still, we see it sometimes under the lens of like overweight,
Mm-hmm.
because the prize is still, again, based on the culture, a certain physique. But
Mm-hmm.
I would still assert that those who do things that are unhealthy on the other extreme too have the same struggle with like How do I break the cycle of doing things that I know are not good for me when I've gotten the physical reward of that? So to tell them not to do it, like, oh, well, don't do that. And they're like, well, I, am maintaining a physique that everybody else loves, even though this isn't something that's healthy for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We talk about the negatives of social media a lot, but I appreciate the opposite of that has happened, where I feel like there are a lot of content creators who are calling out like celebrities, and really not just the celebrities. They're not the ones thinking of these interviews, but the whole like what I eat in a day thing, where they pick usually a very fit celebrity who is either genetically very just skinny because they're genetically skinny, or they have a really intense activity routine, or they don't really eat a healthy amount. Like I'm thinking of one actress in particular who was talking about having bone broth for breakfast. And it's like, how dare that community share that with people who look up to this actress and say, I want to be like her, so I'm going to emulate that. Like, when that's not a source of nutrition for everybody. It's just, I love that content creators are now calling out those types of interviews, and I feel like you don't see them as much as you used to.
Well, I think, again, we have this obsession with extremes. It's like either you hear about a 600-pound life, or you hear the person who's doing bone broth, right? There's no glory for the person who's like, some days I have cake, some days I go to the gym. Like, the in between is not pretty. It's not sexy. It's not attention grabbing. But that's really where we're supposed to be, because that's true health.
Right.
So I know, like you said, I'm one who can be informed by the extremes, and what's in front of me. And like, when you talk about those magazines that you saw growing up, you don't know what those women had to do to fit into those jeans. We assume that it may have been healthy. They may even said that it was healthy, but what were they actually doing?
Exactly.
That's a part of the conversation. It truly is, because I feel badly, or it makes me feel a certain way when I see somebody who is doing such level of restriction, and then like verbally saying like how they're so happy that in this moment they can do this thing because they can't do it all the time. Like, like it's not because it's bad, like to have, like we said, it's not bad to have restriction on certain days. You know what I mean? Like to have like a reason, like I don't eat chips every single day because it doesn't make me feel good. But to do it from a place of disorder is where I think people are sometimes teetering on that. And because of the feedback from the world, it makes it okay. So I pray for myself too, because I have to look at why am I so easily influenced too, to view my journey through the lens of others, good or bad.
That's the question.
I don't get to focus on myself. It's still about you, because you and I are so different, right? So like, whether or not, or even Erin, we were talking about like, she may love olives and be like, oh, I just eat olives every day. And you're like, that's just not my thing. Like, but I really love salad, like a salad from this place. So that can be my thing. I don't have to force myself to eat olives every day, because that's disordered, because I hate them, like.
Right. I think that's where that mindfulness comes in, and being true to what's helpful for me. Like, I think that's a good point, because I've tried celery. I've tried, different things over the years that it's like, I just don't like it. And, I actually don't mind celery. That was just my example. But it's not something I gravitate towards. So it's like olives, I can't stand them. So if somebody said you have to do an olive diet, I would fail. And that's okay, because that doesn't have to be what gets me to be healthier.
You all get on me about the nuts. Like I figured I like cashews. I'll do cashews, but like the other nuts, you're like, what do you mean? I don't like them. I just not my thing. That's okay.
And that is okay.
Yeah. But I do hope that we can, like I said, because it's a great conversation to have about what are we doing that is sustainable, and how have our bodies' needs changed even as we've aged or as we're in new seasons, and why do we continue to make the excuse that it's okay to not give it that? Like we viewed the excess or the thing that as the prize, like, I can have the cake. when really it's like, haha, I choose to treat my body well and I don't want that today.
Right. Yeah.
That's still tough.
It is.
Especially again, for me, who I have had a level of like true food addiction, like not just I don't like I've had addictive ways that I have responded to food. So sometimes that's very dangerous for me. I don't know about you, but like that truly sometimes a little bit I cannot control that.
Yes. I've had to be very aware of what I have in the house, and I still do. I still am someone who like, I've improved in some areas, but there's some foods that if it's in the house, I'm not, I don't want to have to be prisoner to that food.
Yeah.
And I think Layla, one of our coaches, said once, if you say no in the grocery store, you only have to say no once, but if you bring it home, you have to say no over and over again. And I think about that because it's like, it's not that I'm saying no because I'm like being mean to myself, or I'm like, oh, you're a bad person, it's a bad food, you can't have it. It's, I know how many times I might say to myself, can I have that? Can I have it? Can I have another one? Maybe I can have another one. And I have to say no, no, no. And if I don't, if I'm saying yes, 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 then I have to deal with the consequences of eating 5 slices of cake, or whatever it is.
And like you said, and that's just being, I've never been one even when you were talking about those Weight Watchers snack bars, I used to love the lemon one. It was like lemon, and it had a piece of lemon frosting on top,
so
right?
Good.
And
the little cake bars, they were good.
Bars. And I would swear, because I'd buy a box at the meetings, and I'd be like, I'm only gonna have one because they're individually wrapped, and they're 2 points per, and I'm like, I would wake up, and by the end of the night, I'd had 21 points of these 2-point snacks. I'm like, I'm spending so much money with Weight Watchers on these things that are supposed to be a healthy option, but I am never going to eat just one. I
didn't make it past Saturday evening.
Right.
I would go to the grocery store because they had the ones that they sold at the grocery store too.
Yep.
And they were individually wrapped too. There was like 6 in a box, I think, and they were little cakes. And I would be like, this time is different.
I didn't talk a cute game. And I tell people, look, these things are only 2 points. And that's what's so great about Weight Watchers is you can always have just a little treat, knowing darn well.
Right. I'm going to pack it in my lunch. I'm going to have one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and then one for lunch.
It's super. No, I'm going to have one in 5 minutes, one in 10 minutes, another one in 15. And by the time that I get back from the meeting, they're going to be all gone. And I really need, that was my reality.
Yes.
So once I dealt with the truth, which is I can't control myself with those little suckers. I want to be able to. It sounds like a good idea. But if I'm honest, these things are trigger foods for me.
Yeah, they are.
Like when people have the individual wrapped candy, the lint, like they're like, it's like one truffle is 3 points. And I'm only going to have one. I'm not only having one, the whole bag is 205 points. Ask me how I know. Because I tested it, right? Because those points, and those one of those, and the thing that's, I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent, but the thing that makes me upset about those is like, it's not 3 + 3 is 6. It's 3 + 3 is 7.
Right.
And 3 + 3 + 3 is 18. And you're like, how? I thought the math,
it's not normal math.
Weight Watchers math is not mathing. And I'm upset about this. We were just talking to a friend about that. There's a local place called Lito's Pizza. And you look at the pizza and it's like a little square, right?
Very
it's
small.
Square. And so in your mind, you're like, that thing cannot be more than 3 points, 3 or 4 points, 7 points per slice. And you're like,
no, it was 9.
9. And my thing is, so your mind's like, I'm not counting that. See, that's ridiculous. Even though factually the nutritional information says that it's 9 points, I refuse to track it that way. These are the things we do to ourselves that we need to stop, you know. But again, you get to a point where the growth in me was the day that I truly looked at myself and said, no, for real, I can't buy those lemon bars. I can't buy the lemon cakes. Not because I shouldn't be, I can't afford it. I literally
You're not punishing yourself.
I know myself that I cannot control myself. They are good. I like them. I miss them.
I do too.
A little thing of frosting. I'm a frosting person. So I was like, just give me that strip of icing. I was pissed when they used to have ones that like the strip like went off to the side or wasn't enough. Come on, Weight
Those
Watchers.
were the days, though. Being not only just being in person, I loved seeing your lovely faces, but I also like buying some food.
Food. And Weight Watchers, see, that's where y'all went wrong. Y'all got rid of your frozen section.
And the stuff in the meeting rooms. Like, remember they had the little pop chip, remember samples? You got free samples sometimes?
Got free samples when you went to this because they know that you're fatties. And I say that with all love. They're like, if you weigh in, we're going to give you some pop chips. And we're like, hold on, let me go and get on the scale. It's my turn. What kind do they have? That is true. They treated us straight like you teachers do with kids. Like, come on now, let's go get on the scale. Where's your free sample? I forgot about those. I missed those. Do they still do that? For those of you who are still going to meetings like in person, I'm just curious. Do they give out? Well, I guess they don't because
they don't do food anymore. Yeah, they don't have their own products.
That's right.
I mean, those were the days I never got. I know this is off topic, but those beautiful like they weren't silver, but what was it? What were they made out of? Those spoons, the measuring spoons.
Yes.
And they were beautiful, and a lot of people got those, and they had the like exact measurements, but they were pretty enough to serve on Thanksgiving Day. But if you were using this size, it was half a cup of mashed potatoes. And
it feels like so long ago. Like it just feels like you feel like that's how you've been on the program for a long time, when you have sad memories of like, where are my measuring spoons?
I know where my wine glasses are, and they have these. I got them, and I will never let this go. With my points, with my Wellness Wins points, I had enough points, and I got them, for free, and traded in my points. And they have the little dots around them in like frosted glass, and it shows you where exactly to stop pouring for a standard pour of wine. And I still have them.
This is what happens when you have a husband who really scrubs really hard on the wine glass. So I was like, is this my Weight Watchers thing? He was like, yeah, I got the state. Like, I think he thought it was like not supposed to be that. So I don't have any dots anymore. No dots anymore. No. I was like, the thing is, I don't drink anymore, but I was like, I think that this is like 6 ounces, 4 ounces.
Yeah.
I don't know. But those were really pretty. I'm sorry, Rikki. If there's 2 things, Weight Watchers, if you're listening, which I know you aren't, but we wish you were, if you could please bring back like the Wellness Wins and then also the Smart Ones cookie dough ice cream things. And I know that would require, just for me, I just want that because there were 4 points and it had little cookie dough and fudge and a little sliver of ice cream. And it was 4 points and it was worth every single point. And every time I found a grocery store that had it, I bought every single one.
Wow. Okay.
Now, did I eat only the 1 portion? Of course not.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. This has been a fun conversation. I don't think we expected to go down memory lane, but that was fun.
That was really fun. I want to go back and go on eBay or something. I feel like somebody on eBay has something that we need. You can always find it there.
Yeah, it's worth looking. We'll have to look for that.
#ChatGPT. Sorry.
Yes. So thank you again, Candice, for a wonderful conversation. And Erin, she is back with us, but because of the challenges with speaking, she may not be in every episode. So we're just happy to welcome her back with open arms, and we're just giving her the patience and time she needs to fully recover. So
it was great to see her last week.
Yes. And she should be back next week. But Candice, you want to tell everyone how they can get in touch with us?
I always love to, because guess what? We've made it so very easy. Just one of the best places that I can tell you to go to start. All of our places are great, but if you go to our Instagram or our Facebook page, search Real WW Talk, we have such an active community of people who are uplifting and sharing their journeys. So if you're looking for some new recipes or just to shout out what's going on in your life and in your journey, join us, Real WW Talk, answer a few questions. We'll let you in to make sure you're not a spammer. You can also find us on TikTok. Thanks to Rikki, we have set up a TikTok page and we are going to be posting more there. So follow us on TikTok. You can also follow us on Connect. Rikki and I are there. There are no posts from us, but we continue to say that that's going to change.
Every 2 months.
Because this is a part of our script. So every week we're going to say that it's going to change, and maybe we'll put some action behind it. We also would love it if you want to send us an email. You can send us an email at realwwtalk@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to send us some fan mail, you can do so at the link in the description box. Remember, we cannot respond back to you. We call you friend. It's friend mail. But friends we cannot respond to actually, but we will read them. And if we have a chance to, if you want to give us suggestions for episodes, some of you all do that. We're here to listen. And we love each and every one of you that comments on our YouTube page, in our Facebook group. Like I said, the community is what's really important to us. And we are so thankful to those of you who choose to bless us with support. Like I said, buy us a cup of coffee, because it does cost to put the podcast together. So if you'd like to make a monthly donation, we have some who have done that for years, and we appreciate you. We also have the option to give a one-time donation. So thank you to all of you. And I think, did I forget anything? Instagram, Facebook, realwwtalk@gmail.com. That's all she wrote.
Wonderful. All right. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.